Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Analyst here to do my recap for UFC 115, which just now wrapped up. Let's get right down to it. Main event: Chuck Liddell versus Rich Franklin. Yo, I can't believe how this card went. Actually, in general, I've been like a undercard master with picking these things. Somebody mentioned that the other day. They're like, "Yo, man, you get these undercards freakishly right." And it's real strange because I started looking back. I'm like, damn, I am doing real well with these undercards. And like the undercards are hard to pick. They don't even really have lines on a lot of them because you know. But yeah, this fight I went 7 straight. So the first 7 fights, all of them right. And then 4, bam, 4 in a row, bam, all dead. Anyways, main event. Chuck Liddell versus Rich Franklin. Is Chuck done, y'all? Before this fight, you were hearing me say a lot of stuff about, you know, he only lost to the best and da-da-da-da-da and blah, 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 blah. Rich Franklin is still a top guy, but I don't know. How many times can you get knocked out in a row? You know, it's 3 right now. He's 1-5 now in his last 6. I don't know, y'all. I mean, the thing is, Chuck Liddell, the big kind of name that Chuck Liddell is, there's a big problem the UFC has, is they can't do Chuck Liddell versus Jimmy Easy win. You know what I mean? They can't do it because Chuck Liddell will always be a main event. So, you know, it can't be like, here's Chuck Liddell versus, I don't know, versus, you know, Bummy Jones, you know, when it's the first fight of the night. Or the first fight of the main card, they're paying him way too much, etc., etc. He, you know, the UFC definitely doesn't want him to, you know, go somewhere else because even though Chuck Liddell is clearly far past his prime and, you know, his recent fights have shown, you know, that he's not at the top level anymore, he would still be a massive draw if they were to say, you know, free on Strikeforce. You know, Saturday night fights, Chuck Liddell versus, who knows, man, whoever they want, it would just be big. So they can't do that. I mean, Chuck Liddell, I think he just has to look at it and go, you know what? I kind of did my thing. I got my money. I'm not there anymore, obviously. I can't compete with the top guys because really that's the situation. And let me just get back to partying. I don't know, but I don't think he should be fighting now. That's, you know, 3 days ago I was saying something else, but, you know, Rich laid him out again. As for Rich Franklin, you know, finding out that was a broken arm and stuff, mad props to Rich handling his business. He's going to be off for a while, obviously. He's got a broken arm, so Rich is not going to be back in the octagon for another 6-7 months, I would imagine. But very good win for Rich. I mean, Rich has been taking on, you know, a lot of the old school top dogs recently, and he's been doing pretty well. You know, Dan Henderson. You know, we've seen what Dan Henderson is doing recently, but you know, it was a good fight. Vanderlei Silva. Chuck Liddell. So I mean, he's been taking on some of the old school top dudes, and he's been doing really well. And in general, he's doing all right. Like he's definitely. He's not looking like Chuck at this point. So, you know, and mad props to Rich Franklin. What's next for Rich Franklin? Hopefully a medium length road to recovery. And then maybe another fight with another semi-top guy. You know, Rich Franklin isn't going to be fighting Rashad. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Is he going to be fighting Rashad Evans? No, Rashad's getting a title shot. You know, Shogun, that would be an ugly situation. Rampage, Machida, you know, this is a situation where, you know, Rich is up against it, against all those names. Thiago Silva, maybe that's the next fight for Rich Franklin, depending on how long it takes for him to come back. But anyway, you look at it, good job, Rich Franklin. Congratulations, Chuck. You know, you did your thing. You were the man in the UFC for a while. And I think that's that. Next fight, Mirko Cro Cop versus Pat Barry. Y'all, I've had so many people with conspiracy theories about other fights, and they say, did this guy do this, or blah, 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 blah. And I've never really been a fan of even hearing the theories. But guys, I honestly have to say, for watching that fight, I don't think Pat Barry was ready to beat Cro Cop. I don't think he was mentally prepared to actually, put the dagger, to just finish the deal. Not that Pat Barry is amazing on the ground and that he'll ever bum rush a guy and try and take him down. But there was a part in the fight, and I know he gassed him before the third, so he definitely gassed. But I mean, it just seemed like after that little hug they did, after that time they got together and said, yo, let's get it done. This is an awesome fight. Once they kind of got, he just seemed to stop going. He didn't go full speed anymore. At one point, he was going in there, bam, going as hard as he could, doing the best things he could, fighting the best Pat Barry that he had, to bring to the table. That's what he was bringing. And it seemed like at some point, he just stopped being that guy. And it was not the third round. It was long before the third round. It was somewhere late in the first round where he just looked like he stopped trying to put away Cro Cop. I think he saw Cro Cop's swollen face. He, remembered all the posters on the wall and that this was his hero. And I think he just basically was like, I can't do this to this dude, man. This guy's a legend. This could be his last fight. I'm going to give it a percentage of it, but I honestly, and I don't like saying this because it sounds like a noob thing to say, but I just really think that he didn't give it his all. Cro Cop, on the other hand, did give it his all. He got smashed a few times. His face got jacked up heavy, but he fought through it. And in the third round, Pat Barry did gas, or somewhere before the third round, and Mirko Cro Cop was able to get in there. He got a couple takedowns. Pat Barry's ground game is just atrocious. We know that. But I mean, it's probably Cro Cop's last fight. It's good to see him go out on a win if it is his last fight. It's unfortunate that Pat Barry seems to be his own worst enemy. He loses fights in which he probably, at this point in his career, and some opponents that he had lost to, which would be Tim Hegg and Cro Cop, it seems he loses to opponents because, I don't know, he's not mentally prepared to really just put it all out there. For his last fight, he was, for his very last fight, not the one that just happened tonight, but he was literally fighting to eat. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Mirko Cro Cop, good job, good win. I'm not trying to take anything away from that, but I just have to say it as I see it. It just didn't look like Pat Barry was still trying to, knock somebody out, at the end of the first and all of the second. Paulo Thiago versus Martin Kampmann. Damn, Martin Kampmann really just said, we are not on the same level striking-wise, and my jiu-jitsu is actually pretty damn good. We knew this, but I didn't think it would be like that on the ground where he was able to just move. Now, by the time they really did go to the ground, Paulo Thiago had been smashed a bunch of times, and things weren't exactly going well for him on the feet. And it's not like he was 100%, but yeah, he really did get outclassed. I think Joe Rogan said outclassed so many times in that fight, and really that's what it was. He got outclassed. Good fight for Martin Kampmann. Paulo Thiago, with the wild strikes and all that, it's all good. It is what it is. He's not a striker. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. And, I think in the future he'll probably, look to maybe go to his strengths. Rather than, people always, they go to their go-to move when they're in trouble. But sometimes it's too late. If I'm a ground guy, I don't want to wait till I'm rocked to try and take it to the ground. I want to take it to the ground when I'm at my best and try to take it to the ground when I can give it my all. And that's the situation that Paulo Thiago was never really in. He was never on the ground when he was 100%. He was always dead tired on the ground, rocked and on the ground. But he never said, I'm going to go out there and take him down. So, it is what it is. Gilbert Ivel versus Ben Rothwell. Yikes. Ew. Ugly fight, man. Wow, ugly fight. And they're big guys, so it just, magnifies just the ugliness of it. But basically, you guys saw it. Ben Rothwell came out crazy in the first round. Ivel was, trying to do his thing. They both gassed, and then from that point on, they were both too sloppy and tired to be able to finish each other. Gilbert Ivel did put Rothwell through the ringer in that second round when he did a Kimura from the guard sweep. That's terrible. And then got on top. But, he wasn't able to do anything, and he ended up losing the fight because he was just, again, zero ground game and not that good cardio. Carlos Condit versus Rory McDonald. Basically, McDonald owned him for 2 rounds and then got caught in the third and just smashed. And the Canadian fans would have liked it to go 8 more seconds so that the Canadian, the Canadian homegrown McDonald could have just won on decision. But 8 seconds, that's it. They stopped the fight. What do you want him to do? I don't think he's looking at the clock. It's not the referee's job to look at the clock and decide, should I stop it now? Let's see. Tyson Griffin versus Evan Dunham. This is basically a pick where I picked Evan Dunham because I didn't pick Hathaway over Diego Sanchez. I knew that Evan Dunham's a tough guy. If that other fight hadn't happened, I probably would have been like, well, he hasn't had a test as big as Tyson Griffin. But when I looked at it, I said Evan Dunham's, good in where he needs to be. I think he can get this win. He wasn't able to finish Tyson Griffin. Tyson Griffin's a tough cat to finish. He's a tough guy to fight in general. And, he came away with the win. Mac Danzig over Matt Wyman. Losing to Matt Wyman. Basically, I didn't get to see this, but Matt Wyman was like, he's out. And I think it was Yves Levine, I guess, runs in and he jumps in and he stops the fight. And Mac Danzig like, I wasn't out. But, y'all, I can't hate, man. Mac Danzig, like I said, man, he talks too much. I can't feel any real sympathy for that. It's unfortunate. It was a bad decision by the ref. But you're not going to see me drop any tears, on to the next one. Dave Loiseau lost to Miranda. James Wilkes beat Peter Sabata. Claude Patrick, he's probably not going to get submission of the night. It's going to probably go to Jesse Lennox, I guess. It's going to go to Mike Pyle. This fight's actually on right now. I keep switching back to watch it because, I just tried to get this video done real quick. And I guess what's about to happen, and he's about to get smashed, and then he's going to fall to the ground, and Lennox is going to run over and start to attack him, and he's going to get triangled. It still hasn't happened yet. I'm still waiting. But Claude Patrick did his thing. He went out there, looked real good, never put himself in any danger whatsoever. He probably could have beat Funch on the feet, but he said, what do I need all that for? Let me just do what I do, look really solid, and finish with the guillotine. Look at the record. He does it all the time. Mad props to Claude Patrick. And then, again, the other fight, Jesse Lennox and Mike Pyle. Mike Pyle still 4:44 of the final round. Yo, that's another 3 minutes, y'all. Yo, lots of MMA coming up. Let me watch the rest of this fight. MMA, y'all. It's important. Peace.